We're back once again with yet another part to a series that you guys seem to be loving. Top 5 scariest horror movies you need to watch, this time with the part 3. Now, horror movies never seem to get the respect they deserve, however more recently they seem to have found a large audience who have truly embraced the often snubbed genre. With Jordan Peele's Get Out, and of course Greta starring Isabelle Huppert, recent scares have seemingly captured the nation's attention, and I'm loving it. Before we begin, be sure to stick around until the end of the video where I'll be responding to some of your comments. And with that, let's jump in. Coming in at 5, The Orphanage, 2007.
There are children who can see a hidden world.
Released back in 2007, this Spanish horror is a genuine masterpiece and follows a woman who brings her family back to her childhood home, which used to be an orphanage for handicapped children. Before long, her son starts to communicate with an invisible new friend, and things quickly descend into chaos, of course. In his directorial debut, Juan Antonio Bayona made a huge splash with this classy, refined, and just downright terrifying film. It plays out as a slow-paced haunted house thriller which evolves into a terrifying story with horrifying visuals of masked children and some truly shocking twists that you'll never see coming. Now, this film is dripping with gothic tropes, from dolls chiming bells to Super 8 films of children playing, and what makes it truly terrifying is that it is grounded in the familiar. It's mundane combined with menacing, and quite honestly, the scene of the mother playing 1, 2, 3 knock on the door with a group of ghost children has haunted my dreams since I first saw the film. There's not much I can say about it without spoiling it for you, but trust me, its jump scares are timed to perfection, it's emotional, it's haunting, it is perfect in every single way. Watch it. Coming in at 4, The Perfection, 2018.
What's happening? Oh my god. What's happening? I don't know.
The most recent horror on our list, The Perfection, is a Netflix original that just made it onto our screens this year, and dear god this film has lingered with me for all the right reasons. Starring Allison Williams and Logan Browning, the film follows a troubled musical prodigy who seeks out the new star pupil of her former school, and the encounter sends both musicians down a sinister path with shocking consequences. Now, what sets this film apart from recent horrors is that you're never quite sure what is happening, or who the bad guy is. Ever. Split into chapters, you're almost certain by the midpoint that you know what's happening until the film rewinds itself to reveal actually you have no idea what's going down at all, and that's exactly what makes it so great. It's gruesome, but in ways that is warranted, it's sexy, it's tense, however it thankfully strays away from jump scares, and the climax of the film will leave you with your jaw on the floor. Truly. Now, yes, trigger warning, some folks struggled getting through the film, with people even admitting that they vomited while watching. However, I had no negative reaction while watching and enjoyed the jarring visuals. And guys, Logan Browning is so good in the film and has quickly become my new obsession. Watch it, you'll not be disappointed. Coming in at 3, Black Christmas, 1974. Released back in 1974, this festive horror follows a group of sorority girls during Christmas break who are stalked by a menacing stranger. Now, it is this Canadian import that helped the slasher genre find its footing in North America. Fact, don't fight me on this. At the time of its release, it became the highest grossing made-in-Canada film of all time, with the film garnering the attention of writer-director John Carpenter, who credits the film with having a major influence on his 1978 iconic film Halloween. Now, the film's roots clearly stem from Italian giallo films, which typically feature shadowy, unseen killers who murder victims with a knife, aka any film directed by Dario Argento. However, what separates this film from slashers at the time is that much of the violence is not that explicit, nor is the film sexualized in any way. God bless. The film was inspired by the urban legend The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs, as well as a series of murders that took place in the Westmount section of Montreal, Quebec. From the start, the film takes right off, with the group receiving anonymous phone calls, and slowly, one by one, the girls begin to disappear and turn up dead, with no one realizing just how near the culprit is. That's right, Black Christmas, watch it. It's a Christmas classic. Coming in at 2, Session 9, 2001.
I know this is difficult, Mary, and that's why we're here to help, okay?
I miss Peter. I miss him so much.
We are not messing around with this number. I can't speak highly enough of Session 9, released back in 2001. This horror follows an asbestos cleaning crew as they work in an abandoned mental asylum that houses an horrific past that seems to be coming back. Now, you may have heard of this film, whether from our channel or because you're a lover of niche independent horror movies, but for the most part when I tell people about Session 9 they usually respond with, never heard of it. And that's just a damn shame, because the first time I saw this film I refused to sleep, let alone leave my bedroom in fear that I would hear the chilling words, "Hello Gordon." What makes this film terrifying is that it was made to be filmed inside the Danvers State Mental Hospital. No thank you. Now, the film is a slow burn with the true horror hitting in the final third of the movie, but that does not diminish everything that comes before it. The first half of the movie follows a group of men cleaning out the asylum, their relationships and their job. Now, what makes this film scary is that you're constantly asking whether there are ghosts or if it's all in their heads. From one character spending the entire film listening to recordings from a session with a patient with split personality disorder, to one character left alone in the dark running from an unseen entity. All is explained in the film's final moments, and not only is it grisly, but it is downright terrifying. I can't say much more because you just need to watch it, and trust me, you will not be disappointed. And finally, coming in at number 1, The Haunting, 1963.
I came to Hill House to find the key to another world. Assisting me in this exploration of the unknown was Eleanor, Nell, who could look back into the past.
Because of course, The Haunting is a classic, and for the 60s still holds up, and remains to this day one of the scariest films I've ever seen. Based on the novel The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, The Haunting follows a scientist doing research on the paranormal in a haunted mansion, and invites along 2 women to help during his investigation. However, along the way one of the participants begins to lose her mind. You may all be familiar with The Haunting, mostly due to the recent TV show The Haunting of Hill House, which is loosely based off of the book. However, the film is very, very different to the show, and definitely worth your time. Now, though it may be the traditional template for every classic haunted house horror movie ever made, The Haunting leaves its mark in all the right ways. Now, although The Haunting is a ghost story, the ghosts aren't what will scare you. The fear is in the details and the small moments that haunt the character Eleanor Lance, a woman who becomes slowly devoured by the spirits in the home and the house itself. Now, do not, and I mean do not, confuse this film with the 1990s remake starring Catherine Zeta-Jones, which is just straight up awful and far from entertaining. I mean it. It stars Owen Wilson, for God's sake. Not a criticism against him, he's just not a horror actor, that's all I'm gonna say. The Haunting, watch it, you'll not be disappointed, just may be terrified of attics for years to come. Well, there we have it. Do you guys agree with our list? Were there any horror movies that we missed? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below, and perhaps we can do a part 4. Crazy. Before I go there, I just want to respond to a few comments from one of our last videos. Top 5 Scariest Deep Sea Creatures Part 2. Joseph Harmony said, "You're my favourite deep sea creature." Once again, is this an insult or a compliment? I just don't know. I'm gonna go with insult. Josh Norton said, "Lucy, do you play any instruments? I could see you rocking out." Thank you. I play a few instruments at a very basic level, guitar and piano specifically. Cora Rogers said, "I will not be surprised if Lucy casually has lunches with Leviathan and Hydra. Lucy never pays for her meals because the other 2 want to be on a good side." You're preaching the hard truth here. DH said, "Lucy, let us breed so we may give birth to the Antichrist and bring the age of man to an end." Sure, why not? I'm free tomorrow. And on that note, if you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another scary vid. And until next time, see you later.